So today makes it a week since the season 7 finale of The Shy dropped, and as I can see, I'm still talking about the series. Rightfully so too. I think the finale left us with a lot to talk about. And with the season being renewed for a season 8 as season 7 was dropped, I feel like this is the perfect time to get my way too early season 8 predictions out there while The Shy is still fresh on our mind. Before I get to yapping about my predictions though, y'all already know what y'all gotta do ahead of time. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. Y'all already know the drill. 1,000 subscribers on YouTube before DreamCon 2026. Trying to hit 2,000 followers on TikTok around the same time. I know we can do it. Let's make it happen. So one of the early predictions that I have going into season 8 is I think we definitely need to see a Nuck and Reg war full out this next season of The Shop. That shit was built up in episode 3 of this season. Like, I think the same episode Reg returned. And since then, we've only seen these two watch out for each other. The only smoke that was sent either of these two away was from Militia. Nuck ain't try to spin on Reg for pulling up to his spot. And Reg, despite being the one who wanted to go to war the most, still to this very moment on The Shy has nobody to go to war with the mob. In the span of like 3 to 4 months since his face off with Nuck, he's literally only collected one singular shooter. And we don't even know if she coming back the next season for real. We don't even know her skills are on the field for real. They just said she's nice on the stick. So I think this season will definitely focus on building up that war. And in terms of who I think is gonna come out on top by the end of it, I got my money on Reg, bro. I think this season did a great job of slowly building back up his character to give us a better understanding of how bro moves and operates. This season showed us that in moments, Reg can actually use that brain in his head, sending decoys to take on the jewelry hit, not only making the entire Chicago PD look dumb as hell, but also narrowing down the list of suspects who are providing the feds with information on what Reg is doing and plans on doing. Now, that was a great play, but it wasn't nothing astronomical, right? I personally have never seen Nuck make a play similarly to what Reg did in season 7, like ever on The Shot. So right now I got Reg taking in this war, but I do hope that this season does give us some much needed expansion on Nuck's character as well, especially in this new role he's in. We didn't see bro do any type of delegation this season at all. I could definitely see Reg catching the mob lacking, leading people in the mob to question Nuck's leadership, and him teeing up from there to not let this war be a complete wash on his end. I really just don't think the writers can afford to have Nuck sitting on the sidelines, similarly to how he was in season 7 again. You're in due to seat, you gotta make due to level decisions, especially if you still gonna be out here killing people in your own game. Another prediction I have is that Vic and Shad will not spend that long in prison, but they will spend some time in there, about an episode and a half, I feel like. Now, it is possible that they could just get out 1, 2, 3. We seen Reg did that literally the same episode he got arrested, but I just feel like there's opportunity there to explore Shad reliving having to go back to the prison system, and Trig too, even though he wasn't arrested for that long, just to give us an idea how things go down in Chicago prison. Not to say we need it, but something that I think the Shy is also really good at is depicting struggle. How that struggle shapes you to be a better character after you experience it. I think it would be interesting to see how these men now, specifically Shad and everything that he's overcome since he's been introduced into the series, would move into prison, and just to see in general what they get into while they locked up. Now, one missed opportunity that I will comment on that I feel like was right there for the Shy to execute on going to season 8 was leaving Reg locked up in that prison for the remainder of the episode. There was no reason to let him go. Alicia would have still died even if Reg went to prison. So just leave him in there and have Trig and Shad still get arrested for messing with Alicia's body. And you could have all 3 of them in the same prison at the same time. This would have been a perfect opportunity in my eyes to bring it back to the conversation that Shad and Reg had earlier on last season, where he mentions to him that he wishes that he and Trig did a better job of taking care of Reg coming up. I think this would have been the perfect way to serve as them coming together and being on good terms going into the season where Reg is going to be going head up at Nuck and will need allies on his side. I'm not saying Trig and Shad will become shooters for Reg, but it would be good for them to at least be on good terms in case some shit goes down. I just thought that would have been a perfect way to bring it back to that conversation. On top of that, you let Reg out of prison 2.5 seconds after he gets into prison. What time does Toussaint have to free her son? What's the point of even locking Reg up if Toussaint's son is still going to be in prison after the fact? Another prediction I have, I believe that Emmett and Kiesha will get married in this season. Maybe at the beginning of the season 2, similarly to how Dre and Nina did at the beginning of season 3. I think with all the parallelisms we see between Kiesha and Jada in season 7, we can see her parallel her mom in that same way. I will say I would want that wedding to have more focus on it than Dre and Nina did though, just because at this point Emmett and Kiesha are like the main characters on The Shy in my opinion. I know everybody plays a part moving the story forward, but Emmett and Kiesha are one of the only characters that are still around from day one. But wedding between those two is special for viewers that have been around since the first season. You can't just skip past that like we did with Dre and Nina. We just had them in the intro of the episode, and then 2 minutes later, we're back into the main plot of The Shot. These are 2 characters that deserve that focus, so maybe move the wedding to like towards the middle of the season. Build up to have it towards the middle of the season, and in the next half of the season, let it focus on Nuck versus Reg after preparations have been set in the first part of the season. That's how I see things kind of going down in season 8 so far. I know y'all probably thinking these 3 predictions is mad PC, J Swall. All of these things might actually happen. Alright, I'm gonna give y'all one that I'm not even sure right now how it would go down. But I do feel like Dom, yes, Dom of all people, that Nuck was the one who was responsible for taking out Rob. We do know that Bakari told Lene last season that Nuck was the one who put Rob down. And we know Lene and Jamal are siblings. Don't really get much interaction between them this season after Dom and his wedding. I think there's a high likelihood that in one of those interactions between the two next season, Nate could let it slip that Bakari told her that Rob actually was put down by Nuck. Then I can see Jamal and Dom having a conversation where Jamal tells Dom what Lene told him. But I get it. It's still, why Dom telling Tiff though? If Lene knows and then Jamal knows, why wouldn't one of them tell her over Dom? Well, I think we have to take into account the fact that Alicia was paying for Jamal's hospital bill. Now that Alicia's gone, who's going to be the one responsible for making sure those payments are made? Tiff of no last name. I definitely do think there's opportunity there for Dom to have this conversation with Tiff where she breaks the news to her about what really happened to Rob. And after this, obviously Tiff and Nuck's relationship is going to be cooked. You might see Nuck still wrestling with whether or not he should tell Tiff what really happened throughout the season, but by the time he builds up the courage to tell her, it's already too late. And I think that would go perfectly with Nuck's character because Lord knows that man is cowardly as hell. And really pin Rob's death on his cousin. He deserves nothing. Like another prediction I have for the season, I feel like it looks good on the surface that Tiff inherited this money from Alicia. We're gonna see her deal with a lot now being in the position that she's in. I can see us being introduced to some connections from Alicia's past that make it hard for Tiff to just take her inheritance and ride off into the sunset. Shit, we could even learn of Alicia having another sibling trying to get this bread. Shout out my boy Chase, he's the one that put that idea in my head. Maybe there's another sibling of Alicia out here who feels like they earned the money as opposed to Tiff. Now, Tiff can explain to this family member that she signed documentation, therefore earning the right to this money in Alicia's past. But based on the track record of Alicia's family, we know that they're probably not going for that. Which means Tiff is going to have to get some real security, something that Alicia unfortunately could not leave her in her dub because she didn't even have security for some odd reason. Another prediction I see for next season is Papa regretting giving the church over to Pastor Zeke. We've seen a lot of highs from Pastor Zeke in this season. I'm anticipating a lot of lows going into this next season. Him playing both sides of the fence, trying to be one with God, but also laundering money for Nuck. I feel like it's going to catch up to him after a while. Papa's going to think, why am I letting this man launder Nuck's money around? When Nuck was definitely involved in my father's death. I also see Papa finally learning that Nuck was actually going to take out his dad. And that the pastor knew about it the whole time. This is actually a theory that I thought was going to be executed last season. I could definitely see the pastor having to step down, making room for Pastor Charles at the front of the pulpit. I could definitely see Charles having a more increased role going into season 8. We'll probably learn a lot more about the character. See more of his current relationships, his shiesty self, and maybe see him and Pastor Zeke go at it more than we did in this past season. We already know their relationship is not built off of good faith. That shit is conditional. The only reason Pastor Charles is even around right now is because he threatened to expose Pastor Zeke. Another prediction I have, I feel like Darnell and the lady he met agreement partner circle are going to get together in this season. And he's going to honor Jada's wish to move on and find somebody else in her past. I feel like the relationship is going to build the way it has built so far in their interactions in season 7. I think it's going to be slow. I think it's going to be earned. And I definitely don't think it's going to be cheap, which is something I think is important, especially when you take into account not just Jada and Darnell while they were married, but also everything that led up to them getting married. That's seasons of loving that they poured into each other. I'm not trying to see him 1, 2, 3 get back with somebody else after that. No. So I hope that these shot writers are able to nail it and make it feel like this relationship makes sense as they continue to build it throughout the season. Another prediction I have, Reg will disassociate with Candace. After what Candace did to him in the season finale, there's no reason why she needs to still be in her circle. I'm not saying he gotta kill her. I'm not saying he gotta take her out. They're not going on that Tulum trip like she called out at the end of season 7. This relationship needs to stop right here, right now. If she snitched on you once, she can do that shit again, gang. I'm trying to tell you. And for a character like Reg, press everybody how he did at that table later on in season 7. For snitching on an operation that he was going to pull, mind, for you to now be cool with the snitch in your circle, that shit don't even sound right. Prediction I have, I feel like Rosalind will not walk free for killing Alicia. I feel like she's gonna get packed up swiftly. Not saying she's gonna die, but she will likely get locked up for what she did to Alicia at some point throughout the season. There's no way you have her get robbed and killed in the same episode and both the people who robbed and killed her just get away with it. I'll be questioning Chicago PD at that point, not go lie. Especially when they find out that Trick and Shot had nothing to do with it. Nah, I can't just let that shit go. I mean, their whole family's getting eliminated one by one and y'all just letting it ride? For my final way too early prediction entry for season 8, I think we absolutely have to get introduced to Angie's sister this next season. There's no reason you built her up like this if you weren't going to introduce her into the Shy, especially in this next season. Y'all talked about her 2 separate occasions in season 7. She has to pull up in season 8. I'm jacking it. Glad about that last prediction. This is my last prediction for her. Hannibal's gonna catch a bullet. You seen that boy cheesing at the end of season 7 when Reg was giving him all them earnings? Like he earned any of that shit? I'm gonna come back around and God do not like ugly. I'm not gonna be the only op that's catching the bullet next season is all I'm gonna say. There I have it, my way too early season 8 predictions going into this next season of the Shop. Y'all leave in the comments what y'all thought about my theories and how do y'all feel like season 8 is gonna shake out? What do you foresee happening in this next season? Leave all your thoughts in the comments. I've been your host Chase Hall. We've been entertained. I gotta go ahead and charge my phone before this shit die while I'm recording. We gonna talk soon. Peace.